Hey, so this is Ben from Feed the Hungry Australia. I'm standing here with Pastor Solomon Mwesige here in Uganda. And Pastor Solomon's been very important for us in the refugee work. And I remember many years ago you told a story about how you first got involved with the Rwanda camp because children were turning up at your school. Can you tell the partners that story?
Yeah, actually it was the police that brought kids here because they knew that we help. In those days we were cooking for children in the community. So they brought 2 children that were Congolese refugees. And I thought, because I'd heard that there are refugee camps, that the best thing to do was to take them to the camp and be with their country people, or maybe they could find their parents or relatives. So I drove, not knowing the challenges that UNHCR, the roadblocks and, the red tapes. So I went to the camp, I reached there, and the commandant said, "You're not allowed here. Just get out immediately unless you're cleared officially in writing by the office of the Prime Minister." But on my way out, since our camps are well spread out, I said I cannot drive 5 hours into the camp, and they just kick me out without talking to anybody. So I hid my car and went to talk to one family and said, "Tell me your story. How do you live here, and how did you come?" And it was so tough what I saw, people living with nothing, death. In those days, the biggest piece of furniture you'd see are coffins, especially children's coffins. So when I looked at that, I said, no, I will not leave these kids here, but I'll find a way of coming back to get the details and see how to get involved. So I actually came and got a clearance from the office of the Prime Minister, and then they took me to the reception, and it was a huge tent, over 3,000 people, men, women and children all living together. No privacy, no nothing, 1 meal a day. And I said, wow, if it was me or my children in this kind of situation, how would I feel? Or people not helping me. So I immediately went to the United States and shared with Stefan, and they said they will immediately help. Even before an agreement was reached between me and the refugee settlement and the office of the Prime Minister and UNHCR to see that I'm able to do any work, I knew that I had to do something. And that's how we got into the camp, by kids being brought here, and we thinking that we are going to help them, take them to the camp and reunite them with their own people. Later on, I was trapped into the whole thing, and now camps are part of my life.
So what year was this when you first visited the camp?
When?
What year?
That was 3 years ago, I think 2013.
3 years ago. And, I remember when you first started, you thought maybe you'd feed how many and for how long?
I just thought I was going to feed one school because I really could not even imagine. If the idea of feeding the whole camp had come at that moment, I wouldn't have done it. So there was one school called St. Michael, which I felt I was going to feed. And I did the trials, but when I was going to start, Office of the Prime Minister said you cannot feed one school. If you feed one, you feed all. And I said, how many is all? Because one school was, in those days, 3,000, about 700. And that's a huge number. And then I think all was over 10,000. I said, wow. And they said, why can't I feed one? They said, well, if you cook for these and others are not eating, then other schools will close because all children will come here. So I said, by faith, I believed God to just say yes. And I just said yes, not knowing really what it would really take. But today, the whole camp of Ramwanja is fed, and we have added on Kiriandongo camp also.
So about how many children now are you feeding every day?
Every day, at least now we are at 32,000 children.
32,000? So when this started, did you feel like you had any training? Did you feel prepared for this sort of work?
We were not prepared, but my manager that I was working with then, and myself and another guy that moves with us, so everywhere we go, we called Wahab, a Muslim turned Christian. We went, we took some 20 boxes of rice.
Yeah.
We bought a big pot, and we wanted to make trials on how we will do it. So how much wood is going to be used, how much can feed how many. So we actually did that on the ground. And actually, UNHCR wanted to kick us out that day when we were doing our trials. I saw a big SUV parking, and they said, "Who are you and what do you think you're doing here?" We said, "Feed the hungry." Said, "Get out of here." We said, "By the way, we have clearance from the OPM." I said, "Okay." So we did practical trials, cooked about 3 days. The three of us, myself, Isaac, and Wahab, I tried to create a system of order practically, and then somehow it started working, and we have been improving on it little by little.
Yeah. So the camp is about 5 hours from where your church is and where you're based. So
yes.
It's a lot of remote work. So you've had to send staff there to be there permanently to help?
Yeah, we have staff that are permanently there. We have cooks. We have Jane and another lady called Teddy that are the managers. One, doing the field work and the office work.
Yeah.
Because, there is a relationship between us and Office of the Prime Minister and UNHCR and other agencies that work there. So we have to totally make sure that everything is coordinated. So we have people on the ground that live there, but periodically, once after 2 weeks, I go there.
Okay, and so how well is Feed the Hungry now working with the government authorities there? Is there a good relationship?
Very, very good relationship, because in the beginning we used to bring the food, pay taxes, and give it out for free, as you know. But now the government of Uganda has taken over responsibility. They actually pay taxes. There is no exemption here. So if the refugee section is under the Office of the Prime Minister, so through the budgetary allocation given to the Office of the Prime Minister, monies are paid to customs for our food to be released.
Yeah.
So that they have been doing, and we appreciate that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do the people themselves, the actual refugees, how much do they rely, how much do they appreciate what we do?
That's life in itself, because what they get is so little. They get slightly much, which is really nothing much, as you had in Kiriandongo, that food lasts 2 weeks. But once this person settles after 3 months, that ration is even reduced. So without our food, many people would actually die.
Yeah.
As I told you, that the biggest piece of furniture you would see then in the camps were small coffins, because children were dying, which is not the case now.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think your story is very much a lesson of like Abraham, where he said, "I want you to leave now and go," but you didn't quite know the final destination. You had to trust God and just take it step by step.
That's true.
And just ask and rely on God's grace and favour. And I very much appreciate the work that you do with us for Feed the Hungry here in East Africa, and I think it's a great blessing. I'm so thankful that you're here.
And I really thank God for His faithfulness and provision through our partnership. So all our friends that are donating $1 here, $5 there, $6, $10, $30, and even beyond, you are doing a tremendous job. You are saving lives. You are keeping people alive, giving them hope. And this is a crisis that we are in, not only in Uganda, but all over the world. So Feed the Hungry and all our partners, we really appreciate you for helping us do what we are doing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Pastor Solomon.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.